Hello everybody, good day to you and welcome back. Glad you guys are here. I know, I'm super glad to be here. This is a 2004 Chevrolet Suburban. It's a 1500 Suburban. That's the 6-lug with a 5.3 liter V8. That's the Ocho. Customer states that when starting the vehicle, the brake pedal pops up and runs into his foot. And on occasion, when he goes to apply the brakes while driving, the brake pedal will bounce back and forth, up and down quite rapidly, which causes some alarm. And we're gonna go ahead and take a look and see what's going on with this hydraulic braking system. So, stay tuned because this is going to be a very good video. Opening the hood.
Look who that guy is.
Key on. Let's apply the brake. Look at that. Straight to the floor. Beginning engine starting sequence now. Okay, you guys saw that jolt that it did when we started up the engine. So as soon as this thing came into some kind of a brake assist mode, whether it be, I think this actually has a hydro boost, but as soon as the power steering pump or the brake booster began to apply assistance to the pedal, we saw that that jar and the thing popped back up. And that's exactly as how the condition was described while driving, is occasionally the customer would hit the brakes and it would get this rapid pedal feedback from the pedal assembly, and it's quite alarming and uncomfortable while driving. So we're going to take a look into that right now. Let's go ahead, get this thing into gear. Let's get it out of our parking space. I'm thinking one quick test drive around the block, up and over the bridge, just to see how the surface brakes feel on this, to make sure we don't have to do anything additional. And then we'll swing this unit into the shop and pop the hood, take a look at the brake boosting system and see what's going on. And we're off. Smooth accelerator. All right, our first brake event, applying the pedal. And it feels fairly normal while driving. Brake assist feels fairly normal. Like I said, it's an occasional and an intermittent. We did see the symptom appear straight away, but I'd like to recreate it once while driving just to see what happens here. Let's see if we can do it on another stop up here at this upcoming red light. Accelerometer. And applying some brakes. We're gonna do rapid pedal actuation. Watch this. I kind of felt some vibe or a little bit of feedback, but it didn't appear to be anything dramatic. Let's go up and over the bridge once. We'll try a couple more stops on the way down, and then we're swinging back into the shop. I believe what we have is an issue with the brake booster system. Now, this truck feels like it's a hydro boost. Hello, shop. It feels like it's a hydro boost. That means it gets its power brake assist from the power steering system, and it does not have a vacuum booster. Most vehicles just have a vacuum diaphragm inside of a container that is connected to the engine intake manifold vacuum. This particular setup, basically kind of what it feels like, does not have a vacuum brake booster. I believe it has a power steering assisted brake booster, which is the same thing. It just uses, like I said, it uses power steering pump pressure for the assist force rather than engine vacuum. And while I was rambling on, we came to a complete stop, and again, I did not feel any feedback from this pedal this time around. Green light. So we're gonna head up to that next light and we'll see if we can't generate some feedback on the pedal. I'll get you guys down here for a decent view on what we're looking at. Here comes braking. Nah, that was a nice smooth brake event. Okay. Other than that, we have a fairly decent pedal. It actuates quickly. We have actuation right here. So the braking system, or the hydraulic / service brake system, appears to be doing what it's supposed to be doing. Therefore, my mind calculates we have an issue with the booster. Oh no, we're gonna catch the train. See the lights up there? Oh, I just felt some more feedback in that pedal. Look at this guy right here. Hang on, stupid. You're on the wrong side of the road for backing up. You know, these guys are gonna pull up, they're gonna switch out a train car, then they're gonna back right in, and then this guy right here will still be at the light back there, trying to circumvent the train by going up and over the bridge and around when they could have just waited for a second, because they're not gonna block this for very long. I mean, yeah, look, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I can't see. It's an 8-car train, maybe. 42 seconds later, and that's the end of the train. Yeah. Alrighty, pulling back into the shop at 121,778 miles on the odometer. Let's take a look. We're gonna nose this thing in. We're gonna pop the hood. We're gonna take a look at the brake booster system. See if we cannot find any other perhaps visual identifiers of an issue. Maybe there's some leaks or something broken, things of that nature. So let's take a peek at the brake booster system, and then we'll make a judgment call from there on what needs to be done. Maybe fluid's just low, who knows? Parking the auto. We're gonna leave it running because if we have leaks, I wanna be able to see them. Let's hop on out of here. Re-popping Z-hood. All right, moving around to the front here. Let's get this bonnet opened. Hello, 5.3 liter V8, the Ocho. Okay, moving into our brake assist area. We have our brake master cylinder reservoir right here. That's what holds all the extra fluid. This silver component, that's the master cylinder. That connects to the output lines for the front brakes and the rear brakes. These run down to the ABS module. Back through the firewall, we have the brake lever and then the brake lever rod. That rod is going to actuate a plunger on this Hydro Boost unit right here. And like I mentioned earlier, this thing receives power steering line pressure through these one of these two hoses that runs down to the power steering pump right down there below, which is engine driven. So it takes mechanical engine driven energy, converts it into hydraulic energy, and then that hydraulic energy is harnessed and used to assist the driver in actuating the brake pedal. And from what I'm looking at here, I see a little bit of fluid saturation going on that accumulator tube right there. It's indicative of maybe a small leak. A lot of times though, these things tend to leak at the seal between the brake booster and the brake master cylinder. Really no major evidence of that, but kind of based on everything that we have experienced, or that I've experienced so far. You guys didn't feel it, but I did. So based on everything I've felt and experienced, plus some past knowledge, I do believe we have a faulty accumulator piston inside of this brake master cylinder, or Hydro Boost rather. So what I'm going to do is recommend a remanufactured replacement for that unit, and that will prevent those symptoms from reoccurring. Okay, I don't think we need the engine running anymore. Let's power this unit down. We're going to open and close the doors so all the electronicals inside shut off and we don't kill the battery. We are now shut down. What I think I'd like to do before I fully condemn this master, or this Hydro Boost rather, is we're going to use two 15mm sockets, pull off these nuts right here, and we're going to separate the master cylinder from the booster. I want to check for a leak back there behind that unit. All right, 15 extension wobble on the electron ratchet coming in. We're just gonna break these two nuts loose on this master cylinder and walk this thing back. Now, we're not gravitas. As I was saying, well, what we're not gonna do is disconnect the brake system lines from the master cylinder. There's no need to break into the hydraulic system regarding the service brake. We can do this without getting into that system. So we're gonna reach back behind those lines. We're gonna get a hold of the second fastener, and again, crack that guy loose. Spin the nut right on out. Oh, that one's not working. It was unthreading the stud at the same time. These boosters also have a stud on the other side of them, and if you go to remove the nut, it's actually turning in the same direction as the reverse threads on the stud, and it can cause the stud to back out. If that happens and you're trying to service it, you just put a wrench on that stud right there and hold that thing still, and then you can get your nuts off without too much difficulty. So that one worked out because the nut came off even though the stud became disconnected. And look at that right there. That's a little grody. That's nasty. Yeah, look at that. A bunch of rust and buildup. Definitely a leaker. So we do have a confirmed issue with this Hydro Boost unit. I'm gonna go ahead and get one ordered. We're gonna replace this thing ASAP. That's not okay. Alrighty, I think we are good to proceed. I have ordered a replacement component. Let's go ahead and get started with some disassembly. We're gonna crack the 2 lines loose, the pressure lines, and then we're also gonna remove this return line right here. That's the one that goes back to the reservoir. So let's get these guys broken loose right here. A couple open-ended wrenches will do the trick. We've got an 18, and then I think that other one is a 16 on the back side here. So real simple and easy to do. Crack them loose, unthread them, pull the fitting back, spill some fluid. There we go. That's all power steering. That's nasty. That's nasty fluid. Just let that hang out right there. I've got a drain pan down below, folks. No worries. All this gets cleaned up afterwards. That's just part of the gig. Unclickage. That's our 16 fitting. It's actually around behind this return line right here. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna pull this return line off and make it a little bit easier to reach everything. So here, what I can do is we'll unclamp the clamp, unclamp it more, and just give it some wiggle action as we pull upward, and that's gonna remove this line from the fitting there, sticking out of the booster. Get out of there. There we go. Hang that up, and this thing can also be disconnected, and that's going to give us some wrench space. So let's get a hold of this nipple right here. Give it a twist. Didn't take much. And a couple more twists here. Ow, no! Hope I don't need that. I heard it hit the ground. I know where it is. We'll grab it in a moment. Anyway, let's pull this 16 fitting off, and that will completely disconnect this booster unit from the hydraulic system. Come on. Nope. That one's a little stiff. There we go. That fitting's off. We'll pop this guy out and just kind of set that aside. So everything has been disconnected from this booster unit. Now we need to get into the cabin, go down below the driver's footwell, and we're gonna find that there are 4 studs. 1, 2, and then there's number 3. Number 4 is back there somewhere. There's 4 studs going through the firewall. We need to get the nuts off of those studs, and then we can extract this unit through the engine compartment side of the firewall. Okay, re-entering the auto. Let's go ahead and slide our seat back some. We're looking for the section down here where our boosting unit comes through. Oh look, another fault flaw. You see right there on that, let me point at it. See right there, a little shaft coming through? You can see that that thing's highly saturated with some oil. So that tells me this unit is leaking from the back side as well. See that right there? So we have 2 confirmed failures on this booster unit right here. So that's good. That makes me feel better about replacing it because those things are not cheap. Okie doke, so I've got you guys sitting on top of the brake pedal lever. What we're looking at right here is the electronic connector for the brake pedal and the cruise control switch. And right there, that is the rod. I don't even think you can see that. That's the rod right there for the brake booster, okay? So what we need to be doing here is getting this connector disconnected, and then we have to separate the rod there's our connector, and my light fell. We need to separate the rod from the brake pedal itself. And we'll need to do that by removing the switch, which is what we're looking at here. That's the brake pedal switch. And we have to remove this clip right here in order to remove the switch. Now this is a kind of a compound clip. There's a keyway here that hangs onto this stud, and then this clip will wrap around the stud, and then it hooks again on the back side, creating a level of redundancy to prevent this system from coming apart while driving. Because if this rod comes off of this this brake pedal lever right here, the operator will no longer have the ability to apply the service brakes, and that would be bad. So what I'm trying to do here is get this pocket screwdriver behind it and pry out that that clip right here. Easier said than done. There we go. And then I can take this clip and drop it on the floor. No worries, I got it. There she is right there. See how it's got this keyway in it? Let me get you some better light here. See how it has this keyway? So it's got the larger diameter hole here to fit over that peg, and then as it clicks over, this section of the clip will clip onto the back side of the peg, preventing this unit from coming off. So now that we have that thing disengaged, we can reach up and pull the switch and the rod off of the lever. See right there? Let me try to do this and maintain some illumination. So they're now separated. Here comes our switch. Whoop, gravitas! Bear with me, folks. So that's our switch right there. That slips over the peg, and inside of those two flaps on that switch, or tabs rather, it encompasses the area for the lever coming through the firewall. See how that works? It's got that hole in it there, and then that will slip over that peg. The brake pedal switch slips over the peg as well, and then the clip clips onto that groove and then around the peg, and that secures everything to the pedal assembly. So now that that is disconnected, we've got 1, 2, and then there's those other ones, 3 and 4 somewhere. There's 4 15mm nuts attached to the studs coming through the firewall. We need to disconnect those 4 nuts, and then that whole unit will come out of the firewall. So let me get out of here, we'll go fetch a tool and get back into our dungeon. All right, going back in, got a 15mm deep well socket on a universal wobbly bit with an extension on the Milwaukee 3/8 stubby electron impact. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let our flashlight die. It either died or I turned it off by mistake. I think I turned it off. Anyway, we're gonna get our dangly wobbly bit up on our hardest to reach fasteners first. That right there. Give that some reverse clickage. And that is one, I think that's one of the nuts there. Yepper. Okay, we got one of those guys disconnected. Let's reach in there and pull the nut out. Oh, that's tight squeeze for me. Okay, well, that's one. I'd like to get the other one up at the top first, but that's kind of hard to do. A little bit hard to do. Can you guys see what I'm up to here? The nut is a little bit higher up. Uh-oh, I'm stuck. Hang on here, let's take our gun off. Pull the lever up some. The brake pedal lever's in the way. There we go. Now I can get that guy up there. I think. Here, it took a little bit of arranging, but I managed to get the socket and extension through that little narrow hole. Again, I know you guys can't see very well. It's close quarters combat. We're gonna try to get that nut out. Unclickage. Here it comes. That's the hardest one to reach because it's way, way in there. But we got it out, mostly. Ow, poke my finger. Come on, nut. There it is, got it. Woo, okay, so those are the top ones. The next one's a bit easier. It's farther down and at a better angle of attack, so to speak. See this? Pull that one out. Reaching back to fetch it. I don't want to leave them there because if they fall, they can roll behind the carpet. Oh, they'll roll behind the carpet, then they'll get stuck. And I don't want to peel the carpet back. Okay, uno más. Right there. That's number 4. That's our last one. Well, let's recover that guy. Now, we're done down here for the time being. Let's go back into the engine compartment and then we can extract that booster assembly from the firewall. Woo! Okay, so we're gonna pull this master cylinder kind of out of the way as far as possible here, which is not very much farther than where we had it, unfortunately. And we can just give this thing kind of a tug, pull those studs through the firewall there, taking the shaft with it, and our Hydro Boost unit has been removed. All right, the parts house has showed up with a container that contains non-flammable gases. I do believe this is my unit. That's a GM part number, number 19371355. That's the GM number. I do believe this is the right one. The picture said it was. Let's get this thing opened up and see what we have inside. A lot of packing material. We have that. Got some paper. Got some cardboard. I see some shiny metal. I see another nipple. It just sprayed at us. All right, we'll put that back. Okay, I do believe this is definitely our booster unit. Let's dig this thing out of here and compare it with the old one. Let's see what we get. Nice and shiny. Warning! Do not remove this pedal rod from hydraulic booster. Pedal rod is not a serviceable part, so we cannot take this thing off of this thing according to the instructions. Let's take a look on our input side, our output side here. We can see that's the rod that actuates the brake master cylinder, and this little star thing in here that retains the spring and the rod, which is what keeps that centered, so we don't take that out. Some of these, like the aftermarket ones, where we have to remove that little clip and then pull the rod out of it and then swap that rod into the new units. However, since this right here is a genuine GM part, we don't have to go through all that rigmarole. So we'll bring this one over to the bench and compare the two, just to make sure that we're looking at the right stuff here. We've got fitting, 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 nipple, nipple fitting. We've got our rod, backing plate, and 4 studs. Okay, this thing passes the test. It visually appears to be identical. A little slight difference here. This one has a sight glass on it. That one does not. I think that's the sight glass. Regardless, other than those 2 slight differences, I do believe this is a satisfactory unit. So let's go ahead and get this thing prepped and set up in a position over here in the truck on the firewall. We'll slide it in, bolt it in, connect it up, and then see how she feels. Okay, we're gonna stash that over to the side so it can't get hung up. That looks good. And we're just gonna take this booster, slide the rod into the hole, maneuver everything past our obstructions. Let's get it lined up here, and then we'll stick the studs in. There we go. And while we're here, we can go ahead and sandwich these other components together. Let's wipe this down a little bit. Had some fluid built up on it. There we go. and we can get all this stuff kind of in position for when we return to it after that booster is bolted into the firewall. Alrighty, now that we have this thing mostly set up and in position, I'm gonna throw a couple of nuts on there just so it can't fall apart again. And looking back around the back side, we see that stud is now fully inserted. It's not backed away on this particular model. We'll put those studs in, that looks good. The rest of the stuff we can deal with after we get the 4 nuts tightened inside the firewall. So we're going back down into the cavernous and dungenous footwell area, and we're gonna get all these bolts and stuff in position here. So here, we'll get these guys started by hand, and we'll go in with the wobbly 15, finish them off. Get the easy ones in first because we can reach those, and then the harder ones, well, we'll just have to maneuver around some stuff. Pull the brake lever up, reach on back. That's the bottom hard one, and then the top one, where'd that nut go? The top one's way up there. We can barely see it from here, but I can feel it. Okay, that top one's on. Now I'm gonna attempt to tighten that hardest one first. That way it just gets easier as we go. As soon as I get this thing locked down, we'll take care of the rod and the pedal. Okay, impact clicker coming in. Tight. Let's get our lower left, just so we can attempt to do this in some kind of a pattern here. Get out of the way, transmission cable. Come on, I can't even reach back there. There we go. Okay, that one's tight. We'll get the right rear next. And the upper left, or left front rather, we'll call it the left front. Kind of like they're tires. Alright, good to go. That unit is bolted to the firewall. Now, we need to get the switch and that lever, or rod rather, installed. Rod rather, that's what it is. Let's install the rod rather. Alright, reaching up in here again. Close quarters combat continuing. What we need to do is slide that rod over the shaft like so. Wiggle that in until it's straight. Orient it properly. Then our switch can also, oh, too much. Our switch will slide up and over and lock in. And then we slide it on the rest of the way to put the other ear of the switch over the rod. There we go, just like so. So now that switch is in position, we can come on in with our clip. I know it's really tough to see, folks, I'm sorry, but like I said, it's close quarters combat, but we take that clip, push it over and expand it, and then slide it up so the keyway clicks over that little groove that we saw in the rod on the pedal. And I can't even see it, so I'm hoping that the audio here is enough to get us through. Oh man, that's tough too. You can't fit 2 hands up there. Just the one. Wiggle it some. It'll snap when it's ready. There we go. Okay, that guy's on. Give it some tugs, make sure it doesn't come out. I think we're good. And we just need to plug in our connector. It's in good shape. All right, we're done under the dash. Let's get out of here. It's getting a little warm. Ouse. Woo! All right, we're going to need to extract both of these plugs right here because these go back into the old unit so it doesn't leak, because that gets sent back to the parts people as a core. So we'll plug that up with these little connectors here. That one there. That one, got them in the wrong hole. It happens. That one goes in there. That one's smaller. It goes in the smaller hole. Bigger one goes in the bigger hole. Okay, so now we can take this thing, toss it back in the box. We're done with this. Goodbye, old unit. Coming on in with our 15 wobble again. We can go ahead and tighten down these bolts for the master cylinder. Get on there. Very good. Okay, so now that unit's bolted on, all that is left is I need to re-O-ring the fittings, screw them on, tighten it down, fill it up with some oils and fluids, and then we will retest it. All right, O-ring kit coming in. Not those, I'm thinking it's these little guys on the end here. Let's grab one and see how they fit. Okay, that's looking good. All right, that one goes there. Uno mas for the other side. I believe they're the same size. Unfortunately, the unit did not come with a replacement O-ring. You would need to get the actual hose in order to get the replacement O-ring. And we didn't get the hose. We got the booster assembly. Anyway, that one has been screwed down. Let's get some torque on this fitting. Nothing crazy, we don't want to break the housing. You just kind of click it on. Put our return hose back on in position. Get on there. Get. That's in position, very good. Now, we just got that one other pressure hose and we're good to go here. So let's see here. Get that guy started. Always start them by hand, especially these hose fittings. You can get them sideways and they feel like they go in a couple threads, and you start wrenching on them with your tool and they get a little tight, but they still turn. So you're like, okay, so you wrench a little harder, then you wrench a little harder. Next thing you know, you crack the case on your units and then damage it beyond repair, and then you got to buy another one. So if it does not go in by hand, do not force it. That's how things get hurt. Clicks. There we go. Okay, so now this unit is installed. The brake master cylinder is installed. The new booster is installed. The brake pedal is connected. The brake switch is connected. What we need to do next is clear our goodies off the battlefield, refill some power steering fluid, restart the engine, purge the air out of it, which we just need to let it run for a while. Hit the brake a few times. So we purge the air, we'll clean our mess, and then take it on a test drive. What we need to do is hold our brake down on immediate startup and see if it gets that bounce to it. These Hydro Boost systems are supposed to give you pedal feedback when you start them, but they're not supposed to be bouncing around, and that was the issue regarding the complaint. And I need a funnel and some cleaning spray here. Get rid of all of our spillage. Let it run down all nice like. Goodbye, spillage of the fluids. It's just on top of the fender well, so we're good. Clean off the brake master while we're here. Leave no fingerprints or evidence. Nice and shiny. Very nice. It's like it never happened. Awesome. Oh no, I'm running out of another! There. Okie dokes, off to the vault of viscosity. Let me go ahead and fetch some snake oil power steering fluid. I only say that because every time I have something that says BG on it, which is the stuff that I use here, you guys go rah, 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 and get mad at me for selling fake fluid, I guess? I don't know. That's what the comments tell me. Here, since we're not doing a complete fluid exchange, and there is some fluid left over in there, I'll dump in a little bit of conditioner. That's an additive package. It prevents foaming, and it prevents noises, and it prevents component breakdown and things of that nature. Now I just need to fill up the remainder of the fluid, and I hope I don't spill any. Once that's refilled, you can go ahead. Oh, and I spilled it. Yep, that didn't work. Okay, well, suction some of that back out, will be okay. Went too far. No matter. We'll throw the cap back on there so I don't contaminate my system, and we can also de-oil what I just did. Okay, so what we're gonna do, go into the cabin, restart the engine. Power steering pump's gonna come alive. It's gonna pump all the air and whatnot out of this, and then we can recheck the level. Okay, beginning engine restarting sequence now. Hey, that was uneventful. Cool beans. Okay, let's go give it some brake pedal actuations. Hey Dave, I had the brake switch out of this. Will you take a look at the lights and just make sure they come on? Just give me a yay or nay. Brakes. Yeah. Brakes off. Okay, did you guys see my foot, how it got that crazy kickback? That was this thing purging air out of it. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll shut her down, and I'm gonna give it some pedal actuation. We're gonna restart it. That was better. You see how it sunk and then just came back up when the engine started? That's what we wanted to see. What we didn't want it to do was just kick back at us like it did on our first start. We'll do it one more time. Yep, I felt some slight pressure come up, and that is all. Good to go. It feels better. Let's go back, recheck our fluid levels. Go ahead and pull our cat back off and check our fluid level. It should have gone down considerably, and it did. Cool beans. All right, that's in good shape. That's in good shape. Everything else is in good shape. Let's go for one more test drive to make sure we feel solid, and then this operation will be good to go. Let's get our illuminator shut down. Get this thing out of the way. We'll hang you back up on the wall. Get rid of that. Goodbye, 5.3 liter. Alrighty, park and brake light is on. We had hit the lever, disengage parking brake. Let's go ahead and back her out. Honks for safety. Rack is cleared. Dave's over there. No one's in the shop. Good to go. All right, one more trip around the block and we are good to go here. Basically what I'm going to be looking for is any abnormal pedal feedback, which I don't expect to find, but you never know. You've got to test out your new parts after you put them on, just to make sure that they're going to work and that they're going to work reliably. Because you never want to give a car back to somebody without having proved out that what you had done had caused an effect or a change, or an effectful change. Words. All right, first stop while moving, and no abnormal pedal feedback. Excellent. Yep, a couple more of these and I'll be satisfied, and I can park this thing and move on to something else. So all that being said, gas can. I do not believe I have anything more to offer you in this particular video. I have no more commentary. I have no more repairs. I have no more entertaining educational quirks for this particular episode. So as always, I'd like to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this video. Certainly hope you enjoyed this video. If in fact you did enjoy this video, please feel free to let me know about that by tapping that like button down below. Do not forget to drop me a comment or two while you're down there. And most importantly, have yourselves a fantastic day. See you guys later. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. In a video, end of brake, hydro boost, brake booster, into Chevy Suburban, end of transmission.